Hi, I'm Shama Maher, CEO of Scaling Retail, and today we're going to ask a big question, which is, does your website need an overhaul? You know, every 5 years or so, I feel like there are all these new trends that pop up with websites. And, you know, sometimes we tend to get really attached to the thing that we have and forego the opportunity for redesigning or redevelopment for a better brand or a better customer experience. And so today I want to talk to you guys about a couple questions to ask yourself to really start to unpack and see if your website is ready for an overhaul and for an update. The first question we're going to ask is, are you integrated with Instagram on your website? The second is, has your content grown? Are you now producing more content now than ever? The third is, what's going on with your brand? Has it evolved since you started? Are you in a different place? And lastly, guys, what we want to ask ourselves is your website really optimized for the new user experiences? Is your customer able to really integrate and access your content and be able to really close that sale? So let's unpack that a little bit more. Now, the first question, do you integrate your social channels into your website? And by that I mean, are you fully integrating things like Shop Instagram into your website? Now, Shop Instagram is an amazing phenomenon. It used to be just a few years ago, only the big guys like Reebok and Nike and Adidas and even Revolve clothing would be able to use a technology like this. However, what's so great about technology is the more people that use it, the more people who are optimizing it, you can actually decrease the amount that it costs for each person to use it. So now you have amazing APIs and plugins for things like Shopify that now allow you to integrate a Shop Instagram section on your website. Now, why on earth would you want to do something like that? Well, what's really important is that every piece of content that you produce, whether that's on social or really anywhere else, that it has a direct relationship back to your brand hub, which is of course your website, right? Your brand hub is exactly where everything that you're doing with your brand comes to live. And so when you start to think about Shop Instagram, well, of course, if someone's on your Instagram platform and they see all this cool stuff, and then they head over to your website and your website's just got tons of product, it's a little bit disorganized, it's gonna take them too long to find exactly what it is that they saw on your feed. So using something like a Shop Instagram in your navigation is going to be a great way to help convert that potential customer from just a looker to a buyer. Now, the second thing we want to talk about when it comes to optimizing your website is really understanding about your own organic content. Have you started optimizing and using blogs in the last few years? Are you optimizing for SEO? What's really happening with all of that external content? Hopefully you're one of those brands that's really developed into launch into video content because you see how valuable it is to be able to speak directly to your consumer, whether it's through using models, through using beautiful narratives, the beautiful audio, anything you can do to really tell that brand story, again, needs to come back and live on your website. So if your marketing strategies have changed and evolved and grown since you've started your business or since you've launched your website, you want to make sure that you've incorporated all of these different aspects of marketing back into the site. Again, coming everything back to that brand hub, to that e-commerce platform. So looking at things like marketing, looking at your video content, your blog content, all of those things, guys, they need a home. So the next thing we want to start looking into is really if your brand platform has changed at all. Sometimes when we start our businesses or launch our very first websites, we actually have more aspirations about who we want our customers to be and not necessarily hard data, right? We have ideas of the products we want to create, and so we've created so many different kinds of products, but we don't know what our best sellers are. We don't know how the market is going to be reacting to those products. So as your brand evolves, as your website gets aged out, you might have found that your customer has changed, that the products you are producing have changed, the price points have changed, which all mean that your branding would have changed. If your branding has changed, then trust me, guys, your e-commerce platform and your website is definitely in time for an overhaul. Now lastly, guys, and this I think is one of the most important elements here, is really the user experience. Now, in the last few years, we've seen so much more consumer research and consumer data provided that really tells us how consumers are absorbing content and data and how they're navigating websites. Certainly, the website template that you used or might have started with 5 years ago is not going to be the most updated or best version for today's consumer. The more analytics and more information that scientists gather about how consumers are shopping will directly influence and relate to all of the websites that we have out there. So when you think about your website being updated, or when you think about how consumers are reacting, you want to be staying on top of what the new trends are in user experience, in user interfacing, and just keep your eye on the prize in terms of what other brands are using out there that are reinventing or redesigning, even little tiny tweaks, their user experience. You know, guys, it really feels like websites these days are similar to a MacBook Air. Every 5 years, it seems like it's just kind of breaking down, right? Things are not optimized as well. Things aren't working as quickly as you want. Maybe you have too many images and you need to take care of the back end and make sure that your load times are faster. When it comes to the consumer experience and what consumers are really looking for, it's important to think about your brand in its entirety from a 360-degree perspective. Has your perceived value changed? Do you understand your customer better? Is there better user interfaces out there? And are you really bringing together your marketing and your website into one pretty beautiful selling cycle? All right, guys, that's all from me. I hope this is giving you a lot of great ideas on how to optimize your website. Come over and check us out on the Scaling Retail blog. Lots of great information on e-commerce, website development, understanding the customer experience. And also, come find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We are where you are. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye.